No, not a class. That's about.
So now we can start. Already 30 participants.
We can wait for a few minutes, no, sir? Or 2 minutes, sir?
Yeah.
We will wait for another 3 minutes because everybody is joining. So we will wait for another 3 minutes. Good evening, members. So first of all, I would like to ask sorry because there is a small technical glitches. That is why we changed from the WebEx links to Zoom link. Sorry for that. So we'll take care in the future. Sorry for wasting your time also for a half an hour, and also sorry sir, sorry for Pattabhiram sir, because so few small technical glitches, because the registration is more than 500. We should have a meeting in only through WebEx, but we tried WebEx, but WebEx, there is due to technical thing, many people is not able to join, so that we immediately change it to the Zoom link. Today we have the eminent speaker Pattabhiram sir going to speak about technology usage in our CA profession, but the technology is in starting itself with giving some trouble for us. So I think sir is having the answer for that. Since the Pattabhiram sir is no need any introduction, because he is very known author and a public speaker. More than this, he is a guru for us, many of us, for the few decades. He is a practicing chartered accountant and taught over 75,000 students, spoken at various forums, and is a co-founder of public accounting firm. He is a co-writer India in 2047. The main of his two latest books were published by Rupa. Tectonics is written with T.N. Manoharan sir and capture the Satyam's 100-day turnaround. The other book, The Great Bank Robbery, the 11 banks came in the post-independent India. So with this, I request our today's speaker, Pattabhiram sir, to take over the session. So, sir, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Arun. I will just put up the PPT. Just give me a second. Good evening to all of you. It's nice being here at this online program, which has been titled The Role of Technology in Accounting. And I, in particular, am going to speak on ChatGPT. Let me at the very outset tell you that in my view, ChatGPT is perhaps one of the most exciting, and I repeat, one of the most exciting inventions or products or applications or whatever you call that of the 21st century. And it is extremely fortunate that it has come up at a time when we are still in the midst of our careers. I'll give you a very brief story, and then I'll try to talk to you about the importance or usage of ChatGPT. Approximately 3.5 months ago, I do not know, maybe in the last week of November, or perhaps it was in the first week of December, a message popped up on my mobile. And those of you who know me fairly closely would know that I've literally lived on my mobile, which does virtually 20%, which executes virtually 20% of all work that I do today. Up there was a message from a friend who said, have you tried ChatGPT? And I instantly texted him back saying, should I? And he replied, yes, you must. In the space of the next 5 minutes, I would think, personally for me, the whole life changed. So remarkably simple to download, just like any other app, that I thought that maybe this is either one of those other run-of-the-mill apps that does not work, or this could actually be outstanding. And in the next 5 to 7 minutes, I tried using some of the things that I use in my current professional work. And I tell you, I was absolutely charmed. I was absolutely bowled over. I do know ChatGPT has a lot of limitations. That's because there are many people who have chosen to try find out whether it can do anything and everything. But if you have not benchmarked your expectations extremely high, as often happens in a toxic society, you will find that this is an absolutely impossibly wonderful tool to use. And I'll tell you why. I'll try tell you why. And before I try tell you why, there are a few things that I want to quickly talk to you about. A few things that I've been saying in the course of the last 3 years. And what excites me today is the fact that the things that we spoke about in the last 3 years in the front of technology as to that this will happen, this can happen, this should happen, etc. ChatGPT is now showing, yes, we can. It now shows very, very clearly that the world has moved from talk to action. And that is really, really rejuvenating. ChatGPT will upend the way that we do our work. I'll try to show you how it will alter our workplace and of how we should use it as a great colleague. I'm not a technology buff in the sense that I do not work deep in technology. But ever since I can remember, I've used technology wherever I can. And like I said, no, I'm completely thrilled. Before I actually talk to you about the use cases in ChatGPT, and before I talk to you about some of the things that I've actually done in my professional work in the course of the last 100 days, courtesy ChatGPT, let me put before you a very quick slice of history, something that all of us know, but nevertheless tells us how the last 30 years have been absolutely one of the most remarkable periods for all of us to be making our careers. Somewhere in the mid-1990s, the internet came in. Today, if you don't have the internet, you can do absolutely nothing. That's a given. Whether you want to play a game of chess, whether you want to watch a movie, OTT, whether you want to work from home, whether you do want to research, minus the internet, minus its close cousins, Google and email, nothing, absolutely nothing is possible. And if only we did not have the internet, I think 2020 and 2021, the years of COVID would have actually killed us. Somewhere in 2009 came the social media, and that completely connected the world. And personally, I thought that with internet being there, with Google helping us search everything, with email helping us send documents sitting from where we are, with social media helping us to connect with our friends, there is nothing more that can actually happen in the world. And we all talked about the arrival of artificial intelligence. In fact, one of the books that Arun made a reference to that I wrote and that was released in November, India in 2047, The Amazing Story of a Modern Nation, talks about how AI is going to change this world, how AI is going to change India. And we are now right here watching that happen in our midst. The three mega trends are of course going to be automation, and that's what is scaring the accounting profession or the accounting professionals. Big ticket automation. Many companies which are into BPO space have been on a spree of automation in the last 3 years. And I've had occasion to speak to some of the CXOs of BPOs that are extensively into automation. They tell me that by 2026, 60% of the work will be done by robots and only 40% by people. Then there is going to be AI, the one that we've all been talking about. ChatGPT is the inversion of AI. And then finally, we're going to look at micro innovation, or the world is going to increasingly say micro innovation. This was a picture, I must be honest, this was a picture that I had made approximately 3 years ago. I've tinkered with that here and there. I said 3 years ago, I said that automation is going to kill jobs of call center employees. It's going to kill the jobs of data entry operators. It's going to kill jobs of insurance underwriters. It's also going to kill jobs of basic accountants, tax preparers, sales representatives, people who translate, and fast food employees. Many of this has already started to happen. Many of them have happened in a big way. ChatGPT is now going to completely wipe out call center employees. You can integrate it in your own professional works. I also said that jobs of psychiatrists is not going to go away. Jobs of master storytellers is not going to go away. Jobs of outstanding world-class teachers is not going to go away. Jobs of scientists is not going to go away. Jobs of actors is not going to go away. Jobs of thought leaders is not going to go away, because all of these require innovative skills. But the way ChatGPT has now come up, and I'm talking of version 3.5, I'm not even talking about version 4.0. I think even some of these guys are in risk. Some of these guys are in risk. Storytellers are in risk. World-class teachers are in risks. Maybe actors are in risk. They are in risk to an extent, but they are not going to get wiped out. And that's what I'm going to talk to you as we progress further. It's not that AI is completely new to us. Pardon me for spending a little bit of time on this. I just want to set the context before we actually jump live into ChatGPT's use case version in accounting and auditing. Okay. Google Maps is a standout example of how AI works. And to those of you who are questioning ChatGPT, I would request you to hold your horses. I will request you to give it time. I'll give you my own experience in Google Map. When Google Map first came in, okay, and I started using it while driving, I would climb up the subway, or not the subway, whatever that's called. I would climb up the road right at the peak, that overbridge on Radhakrishnan Salai. The Google Map would say turn right. Now people laugh, people say, hey, this is going to kill. But today, if you want to go from place A to place B, I don't think nobody ever asked directions. I'm not going to talk about Gmail. Gmail is so very well known. You would also know that increasingly, a lot of examinations are getting graded by AI. They are not, I repeat, they are not the multiple choice questions exams. They are the essay writing exams. GRE started this process 4 years ago, and now increasingly more and more institutions are doing that. Chess players have always used AI. Chess players have always used AI for the last many years. And the last one that I would talk to you about before I actually jump into ChatGPT is about how flights happen. Today, when you fly on a 14-hour flight from New York to Tokyo, it's just about 20 minutes that's handled by the pilot. The rest, 13 and a half, are in autopilot. It will not be too long before flights take off without a pilot there. It's just the fear factor that the flyers face that's stopping that from happening. The way AI has evolved, this is a very distinct possibility. This is what we have been talking. This is something that we have not seen. So we could say, oh, this looks like science fiction. But let me tell you, ChatGPT, of which I'm going to talk to you beginning now for the next 30, 35 odd minutes, is really showing us that this can happen. And this is actually showing us that many of our jobs are in stake. Having said that, let me also begin by saying a few things. Let me also begin by saying that contrary to what people think, ChatGPT is not going to knock out the professionals. ChatGPT is going to knock out those professionals who don't use ChatGPT. Excel did not knock out the accountant. Tally did not knock out the accountant. Zoho did not knock out the accountant. Tally, Excel, Zoho merely improved the quality of work that the accountant could do. It took away the dreary work that accounts guys used to do, spend hours and hours on mundane work, and it elevated them to a position from where they could really do quality work. And ChatGPT has to use that very, very cliched phrase, a phrase that I completely dislike. ChatGPT has really taken our work to the cliched phrase, the next level. And I'll tell you how. I'll begin with an example of which I'm familiar. So I'll begin with that, and then I'll talk to you about 8 to 9 distinct areas where we have tried ChatGPT and it has worked. Okay, but before I do that, I'll talk to you about something which I basically myself did firsthand, hands-on, and therefore I want to knock the fear that people might have in terms of what it can or what it cannot do. I said that, but let me skip that. Let me first get down to brass tacks so that you would begin to realize how this works. Many of you who have already tried ChatGPT would possibly know that it can draw up audit programs. It can actually draw up audit programs. And I have tried to ask it to draw up audit programs cutting across industry. Asked it to draw audit programs for the manufacturing sector. Asked it to draw audit programs for non-profit organizations, a couple of which I'm associated. Asked to draw it a specific audit program to audit forward transactions in the case of a bank and to audit derivative transactions in the case of a bank. Asked it to draw an audit program for an educational institution, asked it to draw an audit program for a service sector. And believe me when I tell you that it has done a good job. It's done a good job. I would not say that one will not need to improvise on it. One will have to. Because if one does not need to improvise on it, then it will replace you. Just like the once upon a time, I quickly recall this, once upon a time, long years ago, when I was doing my internship in Deloitte, there used to be a partner who used to specialize in writing audit programs. And we all used to fight with each other to try lay our hands on that program. And if we want to develop our own audit program, we would hunt around to look at books to do that. From there, things graduated. And today, if you want to prepare an audit program, maybe you want to help your interns learn, you ask them to prepare a program, you ask a second year or a third year intern to prepare a program, the audit manager vets it, and maybe as partner, you take a look at it. Take the audit program today as a third year intern who can do a great job. It can draft an audit program as good as a third year intern can. And what I put out there, which you obviously cannot read for much, this PPT is with the Institute. I would also request them to share with all those of you who have attended this program. And the audit program that it draws up is good. Let me move from audit program to the second list. Let's talk about, can it actually prepare a checklist? Can it actually tell me how I should do audit of a particular area? So, my office tried to prepare a checklist on how well it prepares a questionnaire to audit fixed assets. Audit fixed assets from various angles. And I must again tell you that the results have been outstanding. I'm not saying that there is no scope for improvement, there is. But I'm saying that it can do as good a job as anybody else can. And at some point in time today, in the course of our conversation, I will also tell you that you need to engage with ChatGPT. You need to tell it what to do. You need to prompt it. You need to give it more inputs. You need to talk to it like you would talk to a child. And the more inputs that you give, the more outstanding work it does. For example, let me quickly digress from here and give you a quick example. When that friend of mine texted me saying that, have you tried ChatGPT? I was actually working on an engagement. And what I did was I quickly copy pasted a paragraph. I told ChatGPT to do nothing. I just copy pasted because I did not know what to ask ChatGPT to do. And surprise of surprises, it rewrote the paragraph in a manner that I would be extremely very happy with. And then I realized that the way that it had written was something that maybe senior CAs would understand. So because I read somewhere that ChatGPT can be told to do what you want, I wrote to it, I prompted saying, this is a paragraph that is good, but I want it to be a paragraph that is understandable by college-going students. And you know what it said? I'm sure many of you would have done it and therefore would know. It said, thank you for the compliment. Here I have rewritten for a college student. And my God, it was amazing, absolutely amazing. It was something that anybody or his uncle would understand. What I'm therefore trying to hint at is that if you find that, for example, the checklist that you've asked it to prepare for fixed assets is not working, give it more inputs. Tell it that you want to audit using accounting standard on fixed assets, accounting standard on depreciation. Tell it what is its standard number. If the standard number is 10, tell it it's 10. If the standard is property, plant, and equipment, tell it I want it to be in sync with the audit standard on property, plant, equipment. Tell it you want it to be in sync with IFRS, or tell it you want it to be sync with Indian audit standards. And it really captures and puts out everything there. And if you find that it has not covered areas that ought to be covered under the Companies Act, tell it that this must also cover areas that are mandated under the Companies Act. Tell it that this should also cover the area that Caro has named. And trust me, no, it simply changes, improves, and gives you a wonderful checklist. What's important? That's why I say it's important for you to know what the subject before you can actually use it. You cannot use it and blindly rely on it, because ChatGPT can, for want of a better phrase, let me tell you, ChatGPT can actually take you for a ride. ChatGPT can actually bluff. In fact, because I was writing about a certain individual, because a magazine wanted about him. So I put out his name, I put out chartered accountant, I gave a couple of other details about him. He's not a name that the world knows, and ChatGPT gave me a paragraph which said, this man is a freedom fighter. It wrote a beautiful paragraph about how he was a freedom fighter, how he was a Padma Shri awardee, how he had won this, how he had won that. Absolute bumkum. None of that was right. None of that was right. So what I'm trying to tell you is that while ChatGPT perhaps has no intention to deceive, all said and done, it picks up phrases from here and there, believes what is right and throws out to you. You should also know whether it is right or not, whether it's broadly right or not. In the firm where I did my articles, Deloitte, one of the first lessons that we were taught when we did audit was the catchphrase, trust, nevertheless verify. So while you must trust ChatGPT, you should also check whether what it says is right. That's the essential difference between ChatGPT and Google. Google gives you a maze of information. ChatGPT goes around all that maze of information and gives you a paragraph, gives you an article, gives you a 1,500-word write-up. But while Google tells you where it has picked its source from, ChatGPT does not tell you where it has picked its source from. I guess when ChatGPT begins to do that, that would change the game completely. So I talked to you about an audit program. I talked to you about a checklist. I'll move on to a third thing. You want a specific question, you want a specific query relating to the accounting standard, relating to an audit item, put it out there, and it gives you an answer. And like I said, don't blindly trust it. I tried it out in a couple of standards with which I'm reasonably familiar, and what it gave out to me was wonderful. A colleague of mine from my office tried it out in a few standards in respect of which he's extremely thorough, and it completely bamboozled him to the extent that he said, hey, this works. So specific queries you can put out to it. Because I'm talking about specific query, let me also tell you, I'll provide names, it doesn't matter. I wanted to write a mail to Arvind Dattar, the advocate, because I wanted to engage with him on a matter, okay? Nothing connected to law, nothing connected to anything. I wanted to engage with him in a matter in which I'm writing a chapter. So I put out a few points and said, and indicated to ChatGPT that I want to write this mail to a senior advocate, please draft it for me. You know what it did? It drafted a wonderful mail. With 5 points that I had given, it drafted 6 paragraphs. I'm not someone who writes 6 paragraphs in a mail. I'm someone who writes 1.5 paragraphs in a mail. And no, it was so wonderful. I made some modifications to suit my taste and shot it off. Later, sometime later, to my colleague in my office who helped me out on a few things, I put out a few points and I asked ChatGPT to make a mail, and it drafted a wonderful mail. I'm sure he would, when he received it, he would have been surprised, because I'm not known to write such long mails. I'm not known to write such complimentary mails. The point that I'm trying to make is that it can do a wonderful job. It can not just send wonderful mails, it can also respond to wonderful mails. There was a client of mine who sent me a query on a valuation engagement in which we are working. He indicated that he had supplied the data, whether the valuation was ready. You know, ChatGPT gave an answer, remarkable answer. The tone of the answer was extremely harsh, because the circumstances of the case possibly warranted it to give a harsh answer. Because I gave it the few inputs in terms of when the data was received, when was the deadline, what was the agreed protocols, etc. And it drew up a lovely reply. I then told ChatGPT, hey, look, this is a client of mine. We cannot write such language. It toned it down. And it picked up also and told me what type of valuation one should do. Whether one should use the discounted cash flow model, or whether one should use the liquidation or realizable value model. It also indicated to me as what should be the, discount to be applied because the shares of the company are unlisted. And I tell you, it's been absolutely remarkable. So let me move on to the fourth one. It can also write codes to help you on your ERP for an audit. But it's very important, like I told you earlier, that you should actually test it out in the environment. You should be familiar with that particular area to know how well it is doing. Okay, I'm going to therefore move on. It also enables you in a very significant way in doing data analytics. It writes up codes for tools. And therefore, my sense, my guess, I can be hopelessly wrong, is that it will slowly replace the need of a language expert or a coder for base level data analytics. Okay, but the key thing is that it's still in an evolving stage. To be honest, I'm also in a stage where I'm trying, where I'm testing. But all that I can tell you is that I've never been as excited as I am in terms of a new tool or in terms of a new toy to figure out what it can and what it can't. And each day I tell you, at least in the areas where I work, in the areas of valuation, in the areas of strategy, in the areas of writing, it's been an absolute revelation. Let me move to item number 6. These are all indications, documents to show what it has done, what it means in terms of what it has indicated, etc. I'll not take a lot of your time. I'll put out a few more, and then I'll open it up to questions that you have. I will open it up. I will also request Arun to open it up to you guys, sharing your views on your use of ChatGPT, because all of us, I tell you, all of us are right now in the learning process. And so many things are today available on social media, so many suggestions that are coming up, which if you actually test and try out, it works very well. In fact, when I did this, I actually told it, because some of my earlier queries were of a different kind. So I told it, please act like a data analyst. Please imagine that you are an expert data analyst. And now kindly tell me what I should do. In the context of, no, let me keep it very simple. I said, I have two tables. I want information to be picked up from one column of that table, and it should go match with some other column in some other table in some other Excel sheet. I don't know how to do, tell me how to do. And you won't believe it, just put out a tutorial line on line in terms of how to do a VLOOKUP table. It explained what the VLOOKUP table was. It told me where exactly, which sheet I should go write it, what I should perform, went ahead, performed, worked. So the moment you, for example, in another case, I said, imagine you look at yourself as a chartered accountant. Look at yourself as an expert in accounting standard. Now tell me the law relating to, let us say, depreciation of assets. The answer that it gave me was starkly different and thoroughly better than the answer it gave me when I said, tell me the law on depreciation. So finding out what prompts work is an everyday learning experience. This is absolutely remarkable. This is absolutely remarkable. I basically wanted, in the light of what had happened in recent times, in the light of the Silicon Valley Bank's collapse, and in the light of the fact that the Silicon Valley Bank collapse was not as much a case of fraud as many people wrongly think or incorrectly assess, as much as it was a failure of corporate governance, as much as it was a failure of risk assessment, as much as it was a failure of, the appropriate risk mitigating measures that the bank should have taken. I asked it to give me as to what are the tests that I can run to assess risk. And it talked about nature of risk. It talked about what control can be laid out. It talked about who would be responsible. I went through that. I believe that it gave me as good a work as I would have got if I were to ask a manager in an accounting and audit firm to do. It can prepare extremely wonderful 2x2 or 3x3 tables. In some of the strategy discussions that one has with corporates, if you write paragraphs and put out, dense PPTs. When I say dense PPTs, PPTs that have too much of words, it doesn't work very well. Intelligent 2x2, 3x3 matrix work extremely well. I wrote a 150 word paragraph on a topic called euthanasia, also known as mercy killing. And I said, look, there is a lot of information in this. I'm not able to conceptualize a 2x2 or a 2x3 table for it. Can you read and do? Oh my God, you will not believe it. It prepared a 2x3 table, and I was floored because I didn't imagine that someone could do it that very well. In fact, I was thinking of talking to my office to prepare a 2x3 matrix on it. And here was ChatGPT doing that job in an outstanding way in an area that was half legal, half social, and increasingly complex. I have two more things, and then we will move on to asking your views on things. I've already talked about this significantly. To my knowledge and belief, this is the single most important usage of ChatGPT. If you want to draw a rental agreement, give it basic data, lead it with inputs, it'll draft a rental agreement. Give it inputs, ask it to draft notice for the meeting of a board of directors. It will draft a wonderful meeting for the board of directors with placeholders for you to copy paste. At the end of the day, after your board meeting has been held, put out brief bullet points, ask it to write minutes, give it bullet points and give it some indications, and it will draw a beautiful minutes of which you can be very proud as though you had drawn. If you're someone who is in a great hurry to prepare the Caro report, you want to not copy paste from somewhere, you tell it, here are my findings. Please prepare the Caro report for me. It does an excellent job. You have gone ahead and done an internal audit. You have a few observations, okay? You have a few observations, and you wanted to write a report. It not only you put out the data, it puts out the obligations. Believe me, it also tells what are the implications. It also tells you what are the recommendations. You really possibly don't need an audit manager there. You only need someone who can figure out the observations. Of course, you need an audit manager to read and figure out whether what it has said is right or what it has said is nonsense. Okay. Like I said earlier, tell it what regulations to confirm, and it will conform to those regulations. I think the biggest challenge, like in the early days of Google, what was important was how you searched. Okay. Today it has become a lot more easy, but in the early days, there was a skill in how to Google. If I ask Google something, it gives me a certain finding. If somebody else smarter asks Google questions, it gives significantly better findings. That's exactly what ChatGPT is today doing. It is actually going to be very, very good for people to actually learn how to give prompts. That itself is some great learning experience to be had. Okay. I'll close it out with this part. It can actually draw extremely good paragraphs. I seriously believe that reporter's job is gone. I won't say his job is gone. His job has been made substantially simple. There are lots of reporters who are good in getting information. They are bad in writing their reports. There's a copy editor who then rewrites it, etc. All that is today not required. ChatGPT can write wonderfully well. I actually gave ChatGPT 1, 2, 3, 4 different paragraphs of the way that I write. Okay. Let me put this across to you, because I wanted it to write different from what it otherwise writes. So I gave it paragraphs of how I write and put it out to it, and then gave it some information and said, please write in this manner. You will not believe it did a great job. So if you wanted to write like in a chatty, interesting, easy to understand way, tell it to write in a chatty, interesting, easy to understand, conversational way, and it will write. Tell it, no, I want this to be written like an advocate would write. I want this to be written like a professional would write. I want this to be written like how a chartered accountant will write. It will write. And as Twitter once humorously said, and I believe it was right, if you say, please write the way Shashi Tharoor writes, it'll write the way Shashi Tharoor writes. I should also tell you that there is a software called Grammarly, a software that people in the world of writing use to clean up grammar. The people like me didn't actually grow up reading Renan Martin's grammar. So people like me are not actually the strongest guys when it comes to grammar. Okay. So Grammarly, what it does is that it cleans up spelling. It cleans up grammar. You tell it the grammar has to be written, the style has to be in the Chicago Manual of Style. It has to be written in American English, or it has to be written in Queen's English. It will do that. It's been around now for some 8-9 years, and I've been using it for some 6-7 years. It cleans up your English. It cleans up your grammar. It's done great work. ChatGPT is the next level of that. It actually also proofreads the way Grammarly proofreads. It tells you where you're wrong. It tells you why you're wrong. It tells you why this word should not be there, why a different word should be there. Grammarly tells you that there should be a different word. This tells you why it should be a different word. I'll close out by telling you that my first impression of ChatGPT was that it's a great Prissy writer. Back in school, back in college, you might have read Prissy writing. It does an extraordinary Prissy writing job. I wanted to understand the case on euthanasia. In India, the landmark judgment on euthanasia is called the Aruna Shanbhag case. The Aruna Shanbhag case's final judgment runs to 120,000 words. Okay? You can't put 120,000 words on ChatGPT and ask it to write it. So you will have to put some work. So I got a couple of people, including me, to help me cut the 120,000. What I did was that I PDF'd the entire judgment. I went into I Love PDF, requested it to cut it arbitrarily into 60 parts. It cut it into 60 parts. I then asked I Love PDF to convert it into Word documents. It converted to Word documents, and then I put out one by one, each one of them to ChatGPT. At the end of it, a 120,000 word case has been summarized into about 6,000, 7,000 words. And when I read it, because I had also read a lot part of the 120,000, I think it missed out nothing. All that I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are in the midst of possibly the most exciting product in our times. It's as exciting, if not more exciting, than Google. We have today only scratched the surface of it. Each one of us should try it in the areas that we work. If you're in the area of forensic, try in the area of forensic. If you're in the area of accounting standard, try in the area of accounting standard. If you're in the area of valuation like I am, try in the area of valuation. Try in the areas which you understand best. See what it can do for you. Take its help where you want to take its help. And don't get down, as I see, I became the member of a community on the social media called the ChatGPT community. I've never seen a community that has been more toxic than that. I know social media is generally toxic, but that community was absolutely toxic. It kept on saying what ChatGPT cannot do. It kept on, teasing ChatGPT to ask it to do what it cannot do. I had to finally get out of that community because to me, what is far more important, and to you, what is far more important, is to try to find out what it can do and make use of it. I'll very quickly summarize all that I've said thus far. What I've said thus far is that we are living in possibly one of the most exciting periods of world history. All of us, whatever our respective age, who are still in employment, still in practice, or still in independent work, should be very, very, very thrilled that in the space of the last 20 years, so many new things have come. ChatGPT is just showing us what AI can do. And if 4.0 is any indication, and I've not tried it, if 3.5 itself is any indication, we are in for absolutely exciting times. Look at the areas that you know. Become more and more and more proficient in how to prompt ChatGPT and get results which you can put to use in a manner that you would love to. It, in my opinion, will take away 3 of admin guys who help you, 3 of support guys who work with you. It can do that. And from what I learn, what I understand, what I read on the net, is that it can also get integrated into many of the office administration tools. And that, I think, is just about the beginning of a revolution. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for hearing me out. Any questions, more than questions, any ideas that you want to share? Absolutely welcome. Please go ahead. Thank you very much.
Can I read out the questions already in the chat box, sir?
Just give me a minute, Arun. I'll pull out this PPT.
Okay.
Is my PPT still visible?
No, sir.
Okay, good. Yeah, Arun.
Can I? The first question is ChatGPT updated till date? Because I heard it is not updated with current event. It is updated only until 2021.
Yeah, that information is correct. It's updated only up to 2021. For example, if there's an event that has happened post 2021, it is not going to give you information on that. For example, very recently when Silicon Valley Bank happened, I just went to ChatGPT to say, I understand Silicon Valley Bank has collapsed. What's your view on that? It said Silicon Valley Bank is absolutely doing fine. There's nothing to suggest that it has collapsed, but my data is up to September 2021. So you're right in what you have said, but at the same time, my guess, I have no proof for that. My guess is that it's constantly getting updated because some of the inputs that are coming are post 2021. But ChatGPT has gone on record to say it's not, what should I say, live, as in time bound, but it is dated. If you ask me, if that was just a remark by the anonymous attendee, it's fine. But if you're trying to say, hey, that's a limitation, it's a limitation. It's just like any textbook that you have, which is written in 2021, it's static as of 2021. So from that angle, I don't think we should really look at it. But your point is right. It's frozen at 2021 as of now.
Okay. Any suggestion on how to maintain confidentiality of client in ChatGPT?
I really do not know because I'm not, like I said, no, I'm not a tech guy. But there are a few things that are matters of concern. First of all, there is the information that is flowing around that ChatGPT retains the questions that one has asked. I do not know whether that is right or whether that is wrong. Okay, it says it retains the question that it is asked. It builds around that. I can to some extent that might be right. I do not know whether it is until the end of the conversation because when I ask it a particular question as a follow-up, it says, this is what I told you earlier, or it says, this is what you asked earlier. So it recalls conversations, but I don't know whether it recalls day before yesterday's conversation or whether it recalls conversation which is in that particular thread at that particular point in time. For safety, if there are concerns about it, my sense is that you must not give out the name of the client. You must hide the numbers, not give out the name of the client. That can be one reasonable way of ensuring that this works.
Is the app free or has to be subscribed?
The app as of now is free. 3.5 as of now is free. 4 is for only for subscribers. I have tried on mobile. For mobile seems to be only for subscriber. That is at least how my mobile is throwing out. But on laptop, as of date, it's free.
How to download or buy? How to download or buy ChatGPT app and how to select the right product with adequate feature for CA profession.
How to do? No, yeah, no. Kindly don't ask either ChatGPT or anybody how to use it in the CA profession. It is for you to find out. It's an exploratory journey. ChatGPT as it is itself is a huge tablet, easy to swallow tablet. So in fact, my greatest fear, let me digress, Arun, a little bit. My greatest fear here is that ChatGPT over a period of time, its very extensive use will kill many of our skills. For example, today when you drive, you hardly know how to reach a particular place. And therefore you don't focus on your driving. Because the map is going to tell you to turn left, to turn right, you are into another zone. You are thinking something else, or you're listening to music. And over a period of time, we have lost our sense of direction. For people like me who use Grammarly very extensively, sometimes it becomes, I tell myself it's all right if I mess up on the grammar. It's not that I'm going to horribly mess up on the grammar, but in long sentences, I tell myself it's all right if I mess up on the grammar, Grammarly will help me out. Now, if we increasingly get to doing that, then we lose our grammar skills. And if we do ChatGPT to help us write drafts, etc., we lose our drafting skills also. So what I'm saying is that give it restrictive inputs, make your inputs also good so that it comes out with better products. I'm not saying garbage in, garbage out. I'm saying that just like in an office, if you were to tell your colleague X information, he comes out with a Y report. If you give him X plus information, he gives you Y plus report. That means he gives you wonderfully better report. So be on the top of it, get to know what you need out of it, engage with it, ask it, and it will give you. For example, there are times when it will tell you, I will not answer this question because I am a language model and this is what legally wrong for me to tell you. Then you will have to tell it, no, there is nothing illegal about it. This is for this purpose. This is why it is not illegal. Please tell me. It then goes ahead and tells you. It tells you. So in some of those, what should I say, ideas in the leading edge in terms of when you have to do forensic or when you have to pull out codes for using in ERM packages, etc., you will have to be on top of it. You will have to keep telling it. You will have to say, hey, this is not right. I want more information. You will have to tell it, hey, you have not given this. You must give me this also. Why I'm telling you all this is that let us not get down to the thought that it will give me everything, therefore I have to do nothing. I will just have to pick it up and present it as a report to my client. No, it will not happen. Because if that happens, the client will leave you and go to it. So kindly be on top of whatever you are doing and keep talking to ChatGPT to ask it to improve what it is furnishing.
ChatGPT response are standard for everyone. Will the reply be same for everyone for the same question asked to it?
That's a really wonderful question. It is not necessarily like that. It could be like that, but I don't think it's like that because you can always tell ChatGPT regenerate your response. Right there where it gives a response, you say regenerate this, it rewrites and gives you. That is without giving a prompt. You just have to say regenerate, it regenerates. If you're not happy with it, you say, no, I'm not happy. These are why it is wrong. This is dense. Make it simple. It will give you simple. There is, however, one challenge about which I don't know. I am still trying to talk to experts to find out. For example, if I write a paragraph, my own paragraph, and I place it on ChatGPT, ask it to clean it for grammar or ask it to improve it. And it improves and gives me that. Tomorrow, you ask it something relating to that topic. Let us say I've written an article on valuation, or I've written an article on Silicon Valley Bank's collapse. So I then put it out on ChatGPT and say, please correct it for grammar, or please tell me, have I missed out anything? That it does not do that for this event is a different thing. But when it does that, and then I don't know if it retains in its memory, and tomorrow somebody writes, asks it, and it might give it exactly what I wrote, and somebody might take the credit for it, I don't know. Or tomorrow when somebody puts out and he sees what I have published as appearing there, he might say, hey, have I used it from ChatGPT? The answer is no, because I have actually given it. I did not use from it. What I'm trying to say is that we are still in the evolutionary stage. We really do not know, at least I do not know whether ChatGPT saves our conversation. I do not know whether it is going to take my inputs and supply to a third party, or going to take third party's input and supply to me. My guess is that it is unlikely to do that, because if you tell ChatGPT, if you ask it what is 57 plus 40 into 49, it gives you an answer. You tell it, no, this is not the answer, something else is the answer. It says, sorry, that is the answer. Yet in other cases, when you tell it, in more general cases, if you tell it, you are wrong. I'll give you a very quick example. I asked it to value a forward contract. It valued it. It valued it correctly, but it made a mistake about calling it an asset or a liability. It said it's an asset. I told it, no, it's a liability. It said, sorry, you are right, it's a liability. Then I told it, no, this is an asset. Then it said, sorry, you're right, this is an asset. So somewhere it is also confused. So like I said, no, I today do not know whether it stores what you have written. So I really do not, we will have to find out whether it reproduces what we have given. My guess is that it possibly does not do it.
What about the creativity part of the writing? Is reuse the original write-up, sir?
No, I don't think it will kill the original writers. It might kill the writing part, but no, if you want to write a report, you are the one who has to give it the input. For example, just because all of us are into it, we cannot. The auditor of SIRC cannot tell ChatGPT, please give me the audit report of SIRC for 23-24. It's not going to give. You have to tell it, these are my points. Now write it and give it to me. It will write and give it to you. So from a writer's perspective, if you're looking at it from a writing guy's angle, let us say from an author's angle, or from a story writer's angle, as things stand today, it can change. I don't know. I'm told Chat 4.0 is changing things. But it can, today, if you give it inputs, like I give it, let us say, 3 lines. To give an example, I tell A is going to beat B, B is going to fall in love with C is going to kill A. It'll write a story, but it'll be a horrible story. But if it'll be written in flowery language, but there will be no suspense, there'll be no intrigue, nothing. But if I give it 100 points, if I tell these are the minor things that you have to build in, it will build out a wonderful thing. What I'm saying is, it's not going to kill the creativity of the ideas that you generate. It might, however, take away the importance of how you write. It can take away over a period of time how you write, but there are still people who would think that their way of writing should be done, and they would write their way.
For the uninitiated, where and how we start? Do we download it? And
you download it. You download it. You just go say ChatGPT app, just like you download any app, and you can download in no time.
Sir, is ChatGPT plus beneficial?
Sorry, Chat?
Is ChatGPT plus upgrade is beneficial? I think he's talking about that 4.0 something.
I am told
ChatGPT.
Arun, you're in which question? Name of the person so that I can move there. I can see it a little more easily.
Sandeep, sir. Sandeep.
Sandeep, is it?
Yes.
Is it very far down?
Yeah, sir.
Just give me a
After
minute.
that, there are the 30 questions is there.
Okay. Sandeep, I have no. Is it for tax professionals? Is it? That's what is the question?
No, sir. Before that, there isn't a question, sir. Sir, is ChatGPT plus upgrade is beneficial? This is the
Okay.
only question,
All right.
sir.
Let me not worry about locating the question. I have not tried ChatGPT 4.0 because I've still not really completely made the use of 3.5, so still on 3.5. From what I'm hearing, 4.0 is extremely good. From what I'm hearing, there are people who are saying, no, it's not a great improvement over 3.5. The message that therefore comes to me, or the message that I'm able to draw from there, is that it increasingly depends on how you're going to put it to use. Increasingly, what is going to happen is learning how to prompt. Writing the prompt is going to become important. I'm sure 4.0 will definitely be better than 3.5. Otherwise, nobody in his right mind will come out with a 4.0. Arun, will you please give me 1 minute? I'll join you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Arun, I'm back.
Yeah. Oh, there is a lot of changes.
Okay, Arun, some questions that I'm able to cite. Shall I read out?
Yes, sir.
There is a question from Sandeep which says, for tax professionals, what is your advice on using ChatGPT? Let me give you a very quick example. I don't understand tax at all. My knowledge and understanding of tax ended the day I wrote my CA final exam. Okay, but almost invariably every year I get one 140. I don't know what it is. I get one 143 or so notification. Religiously handed over to my partners without even opening it, asking them to find out what it carries. So I went in and asked it, how do I write a reply to that notification? And it gave a wonderful answer. I passed it on to somebody to say, is this good? And they said, oh, this is very good. Then I said, please let me know some judgments on this. It gave me 3 judgments, and there was a 2018 judgment there. Now, while I don't know tax, I was under the impression, why should there be a 2018 judgment on a very fundamental thing? Okay. And it gave all the citation. It gave the citation. It said taxman. It said this number, that number, this man versus that man, this high court, that high court, etc., etc. So out of sheer curiosity, I Googled to find out what was this. There is no such case. That reference is to a completely different case, which has no connection with this case at all. So what I said, it bamboozles people. It imagines is a polite word. It bluffs out. It possibly tries to cheat off people. So you have to be very careful. This is one part of the story. Another thing, 2 of us were asked to write about the need for making tax investments in the next 15 days. I went to ChatGPT, requested it to make a first draft. It made a first draft. I passed it on to somebody after correcting something which I knew was wrong. And the guy said it is good. So when it comes to tax, my point is that you will have to trust, but you need to verify. It was substantially right on accounting standard where I have checked. It was, I do not know about substantially about tax, not that I know substantially about AS. So you will have to test out whether it works. You cannot, like I said, no, blindly take its word for it. You must know the subject. For someone who knows the subject, it is a extremely good help. For someone who does not know the subject, one has to be very, very, very careful.
Can ChatGPT be integrated to some online website say GST, through which one can take summary of recently released rules?
I am told it can be done. I do not know. I have not tried.
Okay. You have told that ChatGPT can follow person style in drafting. Is this available only in paid version?
No. It is there even in the non-paid version. It is there in the non-paid version. But if you go ask ChatGPT whose style it will not be able to say. Okay, it will not be able to say. And when I say this style of an individual, except for people who are extremely well known, maybe there are inputs there. Otherwise, you will have to put out 4, 5, 6, 10 examples and then ask it to write. For example, if you have a practice of writing mails in a particular way or writing audit reports in a particular way, put those reports there. When you prompt, put those reports first and then say, please use this style of writing. In what I have tried out, it has worked well. Arun, you're on mute, Arun.
Between GPT-3, GPT-4, GPT Plus, and ChatGPT.
What is the difference, is it?
Yes.
There are ChatGPT 3, 3.5, and 4. 4 is a completely paid version. 3 and 3.5 are not paid versions. Okay. Like I said, no, I have not tried out for 4, so I would really not know. There are people who tell me that it is also able to draw up websites, etc. Now, how much of this is today? There is so much of flood of information that you really do not know how much of this is right and how much of this is wrong. So you'll have to really experiment it out. You have to really take the time and the effort to try it out. And for all that you know, when you try it out, you will get newer things. I'll give you one example. I didn't want to try with Excel. So I had put out on Excel. I told it, I want to upload this Excel. Can you write a report? It said, yes, I will write a report. So I asked it, where should I upload it? It said, please upload in the Google Drive. So I went and uploaded in Google Drive. And I gave the link to it. It said, no, this is a private Google Drive. I cannot access it. Then I gave it the right to access it. It said, no, this is private. I can't access it. So it simply did not do. Somebody else who engaged with it with greater amount of patience, 15 minutes later, it went and read it, gave outputs. Okay. I had become impatient at the end of the 7th minute. So I simply copy pasted what was in Excel and placed it in the prompt area and said, please do a financial analysis. It did a reasonably good analysis. It said, this is the EPS. This is the return on capital employed. This is the gross profit margin. Then I said, please write for me a research report in terms of its financial performance. It did a fairly decent job. I won't say it did a great job. It did what is called, I'm not able to get the word, but it basically converted what was written into words. So for example, let us say it was 120 and 150 was the sales. It said sales has improved by 25%. Profit has increased by 40%. It also explained one of the reasons why profit has been disproportionate to sales is that in the balance sheet, there is interest paying debt. These are very, very interesting. This, according to me, is significantly good. No, for it to just say it went up by 25%, it went up by 40% is paraphrasing. But for it to go and give me 3 reasons why it went up, not all the 3 reasons were great, but for it to go and read that, no, there is a debt in the capital structure. Because of that, profit can increase disproportionately to sale. That was remarkable. And I said, how does it compare with the industry? It said, please give me some benchmarks. I will compare it with industry and let you know. So I gave it some benchmark. It went and wrote one paragraph. I said, this paragraph has to be bigger and better and more explanatory. It gave bigger, better, and more explanatory. So my point that I'm trying to tell all of you is that please don't look essentially for shortcuts. If you have made up your mind to find something, there will be ways and means by which you will end up finding that. And in my view of things, if ChatGPT is $20 per month, you want to experiment it, please experiment it. At 1,600 rupees per month, you will get no employee in your company. You will not get even 1/10 of a messenger boy in your company. So if it's the $20 per month that is putting you off, my request is try that. Give it 6 months, give it 12 months. If it doesn't work, move on. And in our community itself, if we can share what we have found, like what is happening in some of the very good WhatsApp groups that are available today, all of us will be that much the richer out of the experience.
This is a question from Ramakrishnan. Hi, sir. Can we say that ChatGPT is not inventing something new, but discover what already existing?
100% right. It is as it stands today. I don't think it is finding out anything new. It is not finding out anything new because as of now, it's only been trained by people. That's why it stops at 2021. Okay, it is not inventing anything new. Possibly it is inventing in the sense, like I gave you that example. I named a CA. I said a couple of phrases about him, and it went and wrote one cock and bull story. So that way, it does odd things. And it's not one experience. There have been many times it has done that. Otherwise, I don't think it is inventing anything. But if you're saying, does it do a donkey's job well? I think it does a donkey's job well. Try it out, not today. Try it out. Give it some 100 data. Ask it to find out. You test it with your Excel. Then test it with your, what should I say, ChatGPT. See what are the replies that come in. My humble suggestion, I'm again saying that, don't misunderstand me. Please spend your time on this. This is a once in a lifetime kind of a product. Maybe 5 years from today or 3 years from today, this will be another product. But as of now, it's, I think, an extremely exciting product.
The next question is from SN. Which are the areas that newly practicing chartered accountants should really focus on to be relevant in the future? What will the impact on consultancy job and providing opinion to the clients?
Because of ChatGPT,
it is general question along with when the ChatGPT used the consultancy job and providing opinion to the client may differ, no, sir.
All right.
We can take it in that sense.
Now, personally, if you ask me, I'm not very comfortable with phrases that people use. You have not used it, but phrases that people use. Why should I be in traditional audit? Should I not get into emerging areas? Should I not get into new areas, etc., etc., etc.? I'm not comfortable with that because you must get into areas which are to your liking. For example, there are many people who say, I'll get into investment banking. It's a fancy area. It's an interesting area. You see movies around that. You see people in investment banking make tons and tons of money. But the kind of skill set that it requires, the kind of life that you need to lead for that is not something that you might be cut for. Okay? What I'm therefore trying to say is that if you're doing good in audit, if your heart and soul is in audit, do audit. There's no reason on earth why you should get into valuation. Or there is no reason on earth why somebody who is into valuation should get into forensics merely because everybody and their uncle is talking about forensic. In my opinion, you should look at those emerging areas where you think volume will pick up, where you also think that you will be paid reasonably well for the effort that you put in and for the skills that you bring. In the early phase of your career, I am saying this not because it is fanciful to say this. I am saying this because that is how it has worked for most people. In early phase of your career, it's important to pick work. It's important to pick skills. I today interact with a lot of people in my work area who are 6, 7, or 10 years post-qualification. They tell me, and I'm very surprised, they tell me, for the fee that somebody paid, this is what I will do. Now that's absurd. If somebody has asked you to value a startup company, whether the guy pays you 5,000 rupees or 50,000 rupees or 5 lakh rupees, the work has to be same. If you are at liberty to tell him, I will not take 5,000 rupees. I will take only 5 lakhs. But the moment you agree on a fee, you will have to do that. What I'm trying to hint at is that look for areas that have prospects of growth, where there is traction, okay, where volumes are going to pick up. So those are the kind of areas you should get in. I'll again repeat what I said about ChatGPT earlier. ChatGPT today is a great tool. It will help you. I will again, sorry for it, but I'll again talk about valuation because that's one of the very few areas that I understand in our practice. For example, you have a situation. You want to ask a fellow chartered accountant what valuation method to employ. Instead of doing that, if you prompt and ask ChatGPT, ChatGPT will tell you what method to employ. Whether you want to believe that or not believe that is your choice. Or with that information, you can go to somebody and get a second view. Okay? What I'm trying to tell you, therefore, is that this is a great tool. Because of this, it is not that there is going to be another profession that is going to come up. Because of this, it is not going to be that there is another work area that is going to come up. Because of this, the only new work area that is going to come up in the next 1 year is to tell people how to write prompts. If you're somebody who can do that, in the next 1 year, you have got good scope to run programs which tell people how to write prompts to get the best out of ChatGPT.
Okay.
So my suggestion is that in building your practice, try to look for working with clients who are going to grow. No, you grow along with a client. The guy who is a startup today, who hardly can pay you anything, 5 years later might be the next what is that? Could be I'm not saying could be the next Microsoft, could be the next Zoho, or could be the next OpenAI, or could be the next Blockbuster. So do that.
Does the personalization and learning specific to the login, or does it learn from everyone and apply globally?
That was a question that was asked earlier. I do not know the answer for that. My guess is that it does not pick from people. That's what I would like to believe. Because if it starts learning from people, it runs the risk. It runs the risk. Because I'm not a tech guy, I can't tell you with full authority. But it runs the risk. For example, if it tells 100 into 40 is 4,000, and I tell it, no, 100 into 40 is not 4,000, 40,000. If it is going to learn from me, then it's going to be a huge mess. It's going to be a huge mess. But it might, I don't know, it might learn, it might verify what you say with what it has, and it might correct itself. That is a distinct possibility. For example, if I say ICAI and it gives me the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, it has every right to do that because today that is how, fortunately or unfortunately, it is. Then I tell it, no, ICAI is Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Then in the whole course of the whole conversation, it will take only as Chartered Accountants Institute. It's not going to take as Cost Accountants Institute. But next time when I somebody puts out, it's not going to necessarily only pick up our institute, it could also pick up the Cost Institute. So unless there is a fundamental change that is scripted into it, I don't think it will change. And it may not. My reading is that it does not pick templated answers to give. The answers are different many times.
This is a question from MIT. Thanks for your insights, sir. Can you brief how can we make use of the ChatGPT on latest update in taxation and other laws that are practicing CA to be very well prepared of?
Meaning when it will come, is it?
Yeah, sir. Can you brief on how can we make use of the ChatGPT on latest update in taxation and other laws that are practicing CA to be well prepared of?
No latest update. It's frozen as of 2021. You can, however, give it the facts of the case, and you can tell it, please suggest some case laws that are there. It will suggest a series of case laws. You then go and verify whether what it is saying is right. And that way it is great. Because if you do the same thing to Google, Google will only give you 100 searches. Google is extraordinary in terms of listing out the references that you should read. ChatGPT is great in picking up from those references and placing before you. Only trouble is that it does not tell you where it has picked up from. So when it gives you three judgments, it is your job to go and check whether that is right or not right. Oftentimes it is right, and that is the kind of use that you have to put it to in your professional work. It can also do calculations. For example, in capitalization, our team has tried to give it a lot of data and asked it, what is the value to be taken for capitalization? It went ahead and picked up the right value to take for capitalization. Then the question was, look, this is the value on this date. I want to take it today, so I want to discount it. Then it itself went and picked up a reasonable discount rate. It said that the treasury bill rates are 5%, so I'll take discount rate of 5%. I'll discount it back by 3 months. I'm talking about impairment of assets. It took for 3 months, arrived at a number. It said the discount factor is 0.981, but when it multiplied 54 lakhs with 0.981, it gave a strange answer. So its arithmetic is not very sharp. Like I said, no, it's a good one who's info. Like in an office, somebody gives you a document. It's your job to verify. If you go without verifying, you're lost. I'll tell you another thing. I'll tell you something more interesting when it comes to our profession. I asked ChatGPT, I told ChatGPT, I'm going to speak at the SIRC of ICAI day after tomorrow on ChatGPT. Please prepare a PPT for me. It said, I'm an AI language model. I cannot prepare a PPT for you, but I can tell you what to cover. And it told me slide 1, this should be there. Slide 2, this should be there. Slide 3, this 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. I was impressed. Not that whatever I said is from there, but I was pretty impressed. Then I said, what are the fonts I should use? You won't believe it asked me, is it going to be a webinar or are you going to speak, address an audience? I said, what if I do a webinar? What if I do an audience? It said, if you do an audience, tell me how many people will address. Then I will tell you what font to use, what size to use. I think it's remarkable. There's just one word for it, that it's remarkable. So it can do many things. My point is, tomorrow, if you're hungry, ask it, what should I eat? Now, I know I'm indirectly being flippant, but ask it, what should I eat today? That is how we will actually discover what are the many things it can do. And trust me, it will do that. I'll tell you another thing, another very interesting thing. Today, everybody knows that, but I'll nevertheless tell. 1.5 months back, I went to Delhi. I was to address a bunch of people. So I was to be in Delhi for a day. So I asked ChatGPT, please tell me what places I can see. Because I had nothing to do. I went around, fiddled with it. It said, here are 30 places that you can see in Delhi. I was absolutely bored. I said, I don't have 30 days. I have got only 2 days. No, I was trying to play with it. I said, can you prepare an itinerary? It prepared an itinerary. It said, this is the time. This is the distance from here to here. First, go to, let us say, I'm just giving some names. First, go to Akshardham. Then go to the Prime Minister's new museum. Then go here, then go there. I asked it, how much time does it take? It said it is 3 hours is good for Akshardham. You can even do it in 2 hours. Then it said there is a day and night show in the evening. You can watch it then if you want to go. So it can prepare itineraries. Tomorrow you want to go to Spain. You tell you want to go to Spain, what you want to see. What I'm trying to tell you, what I'm trying to impress upon you is that we don't have to go anywhere to ask what it will do. We have to just pick up ChatGPT and ask it, please do this for me. It will tell whether it can do or whether it can't do. Go and tell ChatGPT 3.5, please prepare a video for me. It will tell you, I can't prepare a video. I think 4 might be able to do. I can't prepare a video, but tell me what you want about the video. I will prepare bullet points for you. So it's all exploratory is all that I can tell.
The question from Raghu is ChatGPT latest version 3.5. I heard the latest version is not accessible to individual user as of now.
Latest version is 4.0. It is accessible. It is accessible to those who have got 3.5 paid version. It is not accessible to people who don't have the paid version. It's only on subscriber basis, and it also because there is so much interest there that even in the paid version, the charges that it levies for payment are pretty significant, and you cannot ask more than X number of prompts a day in 4.0. But those are all, what should I say, passing clouds. Very soon you will find it freely available.
This is Ganesh Krishnan. Is what way the ChatGPT will affect our profession?
It will not affect. Did Excel affect our profession? I know Excel is very old, so it's a difficult question to answer. It will not affect it will improve our profession. If, for example, if you're a company secretary, or if you're into secretarial work and minutes you have to prepare, each time, you might have a template. There are today lots of software which have template. Now, if you tell this, please give me the minutes of the board meeting, it will tell you what is the agenda. You put out the agenda, it will draw up the agenda for the board meeting with detailed wording. You just have to say quorum, number of people present, chairman to address, blah, blah, blah. It will draft wonderfully and give you. After the meeting is over, just give the bullet point. This was what was discussed. You can even just say, if Arun's name is to be written as AVA, you can just say AVA introduced. It will go right AV Arun introduced, and it will write sentences. It will do all the donkey's work for you. After that, you will have to read it to see whether it has written correctly. So it will do a great secretarial job. It will do a great document writing job. It will do a great report writing job. It does a fairly good, what should I say, analytical job. So it's not going to replace you. It's going to actually elevate your work. If you don't use it, others are going to use it, and they will therefore beat you in the game.
I think it is a suggestion, sir. Use GPT for responding to tax notice, insurance planning, and estate planning.
And how was it? Was it good?
Whether it is possible to use responding to tax notice, insurance planning, and estate planning. Question may be like that.
You can try it out. See, I have not had the need for doing it, so I have not gone and asked it. You just ask it. It costs you nothing. You just go and ask it. I went and asked it, for example, what are the investments that are under Section 80, which people can buy in the next 15 days? It gave me. And I said, can you please put out its pros and cons? It gave me the pros and cons. And then I asked somebody to vet whether the numbers are right. Vetted and said it is right, because I was worried. No, it would be static at some 2020. So it was not like that. So all that you have to do is to ask it.
Is GPT capable behavioral pattern of individual based on the pattern of questions asked, and can potentially become the marketing and selling instrument?
It can become, I don't know, it can become like what happens in Google. So you ask, you say, I'm buying a ticket to Delhi, right hand side, the hotel, Delhi hotels are coming up. The other day, all that I had to do, I just Googled for a flight to Abu Dhabi. I had no intention of going anywhere. From that day onwards, Make My Trip is sending me messages. So it's quite possible. So today, I don't think that is the objective of ChatGPT. So today, I don't think that is there. But if we want things to be free, we will have to pay a price somewhere. And the price on the internet that we have paid is the loss of privacy. Today, for example, if the government wants to find out, courtesy social media, it can find out who wants to vote for who. Okay. It was something that I'm giving an American example. The CBI had wanted to do this for the last 80 years. Who will vote for Republicans? Who will vote for Democrats? It could not do that. Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook managed to do it in 4 years. In India, also, it's quite possible. Why? Quite possible. It can read out and tell who will vote for whom. So when you give it lots of information, you pay nothing, you lose privacy. Privacy is the price that you pay. I guess same thing could happen in ChatGPT, though I don't know.
Can ChatGPT be used to create Excel macros?
My understanding is that yes, but how much time you will take to create it, you will have to find out. But my understanding is that it can do it.
The smartphone made our memories bad. Through this ChatGPT, do you think our logical and reasoning will be killed?
It will be. There is no two opinion about it. It will be. It will be. If you are going to use it for everything, like if you want to use what is that Google Map for going from your home to your office, whose route you know, but you don't want to focus, today you have lost a sense of direction. Same thing will happen here also. Same thing will happen here. That is why I say engage with ChatGPT, ask it, treat it like a 12-year-old or a 15-year-old boy, or treat it like someone who does not know much, and ask it many questions so that it will give you substantially better outcomes. From the time when I first copied a paragraph and pasted it, to the time today when I write 100 words into it for it to generate output, I think I have traveled some distance. And ChatGPT has also traveled some distance with me. Do the same thing. Otherwise, no, your outcomes will also not be good, and you will then end up blaming ChatGPT for the outcome, whereas the one who is actually blamable is you. So look at what people in the social media are telling. Try new things and see what works for you. Tomorrow, for example, why tomorrow? Today itself, go and write 5 good things about you as a prompt, 5 bad things about you as a prompt, give your date of birth, give your qualification, ask it to write an essay about you, or ask it to write a report about you. It will write a report about you. It will tell you a few things that you never thought, but which when you read, you will know is right about you.
What is the exception of CA profession with automation?
What is the?
It's a general question. Exception of CA profession with automation.
Sorry, Arun, I couldn't hear you well.
What is the exception of CA profession with automation?
I have always believed, yeah, from the time that I came out of the Institute of CA, Chartered Accountants of India, many years ago as a CA, I have always believed that automation actually helps. Automation is not a threat. Automation is a threat for those who don't adapt to automation, or those who find it extremely difficult to adapt to it. I do agree some people will be left by the wayside, but those some people will find new things to do. They'll find new things to do. Now, who, for example, 10 years ago, who did ever think that there will be a job called Ola drivers? And 3 years back, who did ever think that there will be a job called Uber drivers? Who did ever think that there will be Swiggy jobs? And I tell you, because I use Ola Drive You extensively, people who drive there, especially those who drive you, are people who are actually very well educated. They're guys who are on a holiday, who are therefore using it, who are driving it, or who have a 2 to 10 shift and who are driving in the morning. I don't want to say this in public, but there are people in different professions, or who are either in different professions or pursuing different professions, including our profession, who do these things. So what I'm saying is that if it hurts somebody somewhere, it will open up a window of opportunity elsewhere. This might sound a very vague answer, but this is the honest truth.
Give the vast unverified pool of data ChatGPT uses. Is it prudent to rely on ChatGPT for professional judgment? Are we just shaving towards the ChatGPT on pretext of being tech savvy?
No, no. I'm sorry. I'm extremely sorry. I completely disagree with this statement called tech savvy. Merely because you can know, you understand this mobile better than me, or you can, if this mobile does not work for me, you make it work for me, you are not tech savvy. Usage of ChatGPT is not being tech savvy in the sense tech savvy I understand. Okay. Using ChatGPT is just using another instrument. You don't have to be a technology guy to use ChatGPT. You don't have to be a CA to use ChatGPT. You don't have to be a Caesar to use ChatGPT. You just have to have curiosity to use ChatGPT. You just have to have eight fingers or 10 fingers with which you can type, or like people type with 2 fingers. You must have the ability to do that. Okay, point one. So it has got nothing to do with ChatGPT. It has got everything to do with technology, everything to do with being lazy, everything to do with using something that is readily available. If there is something that is readily available, why should I not use it? But like I said, you must know whether what you're using is right or not. I tell the story to many people. It's a slight digression from what we are doing now, but I'll still tell you the story because it has a lot of value. In my second job as a CA, I worked in 2 places initially. I had an outstanding finance manager, an outstanding boss. The guy, those positions are today called CFOs. The accounting guy would take the creditors list to him, a creditors list that runs to 300 pages. And this is a manager this is a head who would ask, which side of the ledger should I see, credit or debit? That was the kind of a guy he was. That means while he was a CA, his understanding of technicalities was not profound. Take a trial balance to him, or take a list of 300 creditors to him. He will only see for 2 minutes. He could circle 6 creditors and say these numbers are wrong. The colleague of mine would say, smile at him and say, because he was a very approachable manager, he would smile at him and say, sir, you are sitting in your cabin. You are completely insulated from the creditor. I deal with the creditor day in and day out. I know these numbers are right. The gentleman would say, and he would say in Tamil, he would say, Ambi, நீ சொல்றதெல்லாம் கரெக்ட், ஆனா எனக்காக நான் தப்பா இருக்கலாம், எனக்காக நீ போய் பார்த்துட்டு வாங்க. The guy will go, come back, 6 out of 6 the accountant is wrong, 6 out of 6 the finance manager is right. What I'm trying to tell you is that he had a flair for number. He had a sense of the business that was happening. In much the same way, while you use technology, you must have a sense of whether something is right or something is wrong. If your company, if ChatGPT tells you your company's profit is 200 billion when it is 200 lakhs, and you get excited and trusted, then there's no greater fool than you. Okay, so you will have to have a sense of knowing whether these numbers are right, not right, etc. Whereas ChatGPT will do the donkey's job for you. Do the job of a very intelligent donkey. But yet you are the master. You are the one who should lead it to its way.
Currently, I am using a Chrome extension called Texty, which works on AI as a ChatGPT. Are you aware of any other such software application which we can be used on daily basis?
So there are many applications. You just Google for a list of applications, or be available on LinkedIn, or be available on Twitter. And on Twitter, don't follow all those toxic guys who write all crazy things. Okay, look for people who talk about finance. Okay, I'm not from the top of my head able to name them because these are all international guys. Follow them, and they come out every day with something remarkable. There are a lot more than ChatGPT. The way that I look at it, generally is use one extensively, because every day there is something that new that will come up. Use one extensively, not just here, even if on anything. Every software will have its pluses and minuses. Test some, identify which works best for you and use it. Okay, don't try to use multiple things. You don't have to test whether they are good or not good. You will have to only find what is going to work for you. Okay, so I think I have heard the one that you were referring to, but no, I have not used it. I have not tried it. There are many AI applications which you try and see how they work.
Can we use the same for drafting for some assessment replies with Tusha?
Absolutely. I think Arun should yourself answer that. You can, because I'm not into tax practice, but I've spoken to people. They all say it can do a very wonderful job. I think Arun will answer that.
Yes, sir. When we ask for 264 replies, can we get some draft replies for 264 revision? So it gives a reasonable reply to us.
And my suggestion is that you copy the query that came to you. Okay, you copy the query that came to you, tell it what you want to do, maybe even give it a hint or two about the answers that you are thinking about. It will draft. It does a wonderful job. Oftentimes it does much better than what we can.
That's the drafting job, sir. We have to, as you said, we have to verify it and match with our case, sir. What case we have to match with that case.
Arun, it is not just for draft, it is for everything. Unless it becomes very reliable, for everything that it says, we must test it. If that is why I said, if you know the subject, it is good. If you don't know the subject, if you ask, I'll just give you a crude example. What are the methods of depreciation allowed under the Companies Act? Allowed under the Income Tax Act? It will give you an answer. If you know the subject, it is good. If you don't know the subject, you will have to verify. You will have to Google. I would actually believe Google far more than I will believe ChatGPT. Because like I said, no, Google gives the source.
Which is the correct app in the Play Store?
Any Play Store it is available.
App in the Play Store.
So anywhere you go and put it, no, you.
I think it is maybe the technical question for next question, sir. What is your view on ChatGPT on blockchain technology?
On what technology?
What is your view on ChatGPT to blockchain technology?
Blockchain technology. Okay. In fact, we actually tried. We actually asked a question about how to audit. It was there. I didn't walk you through that. We asked a question on how can we audit a smart contract. We asked a question on how to audit something in a blockchain environment, and it gave an answer. It gave steps that are reasonably right. No, I didn't have the time or the environment to test it. But of the little that we know, what it laid out looked pretty good. Did it work? Does it work? One will have to figure out. But queries that were raised on Oracle and SAP, the responses that it gave are all working. Okay. So like I said, for a smart contract, how to audit a smart contract, it gave a process. It looked pretty good. It looked pretty right. One will have to test that out. Also question on blockchain. It tells you here is where you can test. So my suggestion is that if you can, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Can error in macro be rectified?
I think yes.
We'll ask the macros, sir.
No. I think yes. I think yes, for the simple reason that in the early times when I was interacting with people who write programs, because the whole thing caught my attention largely because it said it can write programs. Okay. Then I spoke to people, and there were a lot of people who are also excited about it. I spoke to people and it says it does that. And when their program is not working, they place it and they have not been able to find out what is wrong. They place it there and say, please debug this. It's able to identify exactly where the problem is. Just like it proofreads an article or it proofreads a writing, it's able to test a code that you have written and identify where things are wrong. So the answer to your question is yes.
I used ChatGPT to generate an opinion on TDS applicability. It reached the correct implication, but the case laws and circulars referred is completely wrong. Will it
Agreed.
improve in future? We'll be able to customize it by giving a reference of law, rules, circular, and case laws.
The answer to your question, your statement is 100% right. That is why the trust but verify rule applies. Okay, you will have to counter check. It is like possibly how you wrote your exams. No? In your exams, you might have bluffed quite a few areas. The examiner has to know. You could possibly write this case versus this case in the high court of some place, thinking that the examiner will not spot the error. Like that, ChatGPT is also trying to do. The second thing is, will they correct it? I am 200% sure they are at it. They will correct it. They will work on it. There is no true opinion that as we progress in time, by this time next year, watch the fun about ChatGPT.
Do we need to upgrade to ChatGPT Plus, or the basic version gives the appropriate answer or solution that we need?
My request is that first use the 3.5, use the free version, see how it works for you. Okay. Then look at the other versions. The other versions are items more at the leading edge. How it prepares a video, if you give it a script, etc. Let us first use for what we want to use, what we know, and what is applicable to us. If you're someone who regularly speaks, or if you're someone who acts as a speech writer for corporate heads, or for CXOs, or for politicians, initially use them. Initially pick their thoughts, use their draft, see it. And as you become more and more confident, as you begin to trust it more and more, then look for other things. I don't think, for example, I'm just giving a very crude example. If you go and tell ChatGPT, please write me a movie script, or please create a movie for me. Today, at the situation in which it is not on. I am told that 4.0 is walking in that direction. But that is not what you actually today want in our profession. First, we will look at what we want in our profession. Let's do that. Whatever you want to do in our profession, ask ChatGPT to do, test it, work out, and always keep your eye on. Please be in social media for the right reasons. Please read up whatever comes on the net. And today, there's a lot of conversation that is happening around how to make offices more efficient, how to make work more efficient, and unmindful of whether the person who is telling you is a 20-year-old whom you therefore don't want to trust, or a 35-year-old whom you think, yes, he's more trustworthy, or a 70-year-old, you think, oh, that guy is a boomer, does not know anything. Don't do all that. Listen to everybody in whom you have a basic element of faith, and then apply that. If it works for you, good. For example, in today's conversation that we have had for across 2 hours, I'm 100% sure that everything that I spoke might have been things that you knew, or may not make sense either to you or me, or may not matter at all. But even if there are 2 things that you picked up, or 1 thing that you can apply, or 1 thing that triggered a thought in you and tells you, hey, let me go and try this at 7 o'clock. You try and it works. The 2 hours time is worth spent. So in all the learnings that you do, the CPEs that you do, the videos that you watch, please don't think that it will be an aha moment. Every moment will be an aha moment. Every moment need not be like a thriller movie. Okay. So even if from a conference, even if from a reading, you pick up just 1 idea, 2 ideas, no, that to me is excellent. And that should also be your target.
So I think the all other difference between the ChatGPT and chatbot of Google, what is the extra benefit of ChatGPT in paid version? Can ChatGPT integrated with Excel? These all are relating to the same one.
So standard answer to all of that from me now, because I think we have crossed time and I'm sure many of people would want to leave, is that experiment, try. Today, we are in very exciting times. There is a Google that tells you what to do. There's a Google that is extraordinarily trustworthy. There is Excel's tutorials which tell you what to do. There is now ChatGPT. It's just a question of being there, patient, not losing our patience, because we have lost our patience thanks to this guy. Okay. And you can explore. Unlike the times when I grew up, or unlike the times when many in my generation grew up, you don't have to wait and ask somebody, wait for somebody who's in Delhi, ask him, wait for somebody in the US to ask him. There is Professor Google. There is now, what should I say, smart assistant ChatGPT. There is a super smart Excel tutorial. Ask them, and I think you will have answers.
I think whether we can use it for a bank audit.
Arun, I do not know whether it has been done. If it has not been done, I guess it might have been done, but if it has not been done, try at the institute, forget about the institute, try at our level to create a community, WhatsApp community, which discusses ChatGPT. And let that group just discuss what they find, what they want to know, etc. Like some of the professional groups are there. Focus exclusively on what ChatGPT should.
Can we have logical argument with it? Yes.
Yeah.
That's the question.
What you think, I think can be experimented there. Meaning what sits in the mind or what can be imagined can be achieved. Like that, or what can be imagined can be checked out whether it works or not.
It is again the same kind of question, sir. Will it be advisable to use it for the ratio analysis in the audit without disclosing the client?
Yes, you can use it for ratio analysis. But you should know to check whether the ratios are correctly computed.
Okay. Add me if there are. Okay, sir. I think we come to the end of the questions. We answered all questions. The other question is relating to that calculation, whether we are use it for the calculation, like that same kind of questions, sir. So we can use it, we try it, and once we check it, then we'll know how can it is help us. So we can up to we need to decide how to use it. And Sriram said you request to add me if there is any group created as advised. That's all. Yes, sir. Now come to the. Thank you for in every professional forum, and now the ChatGPT is a discussion point. So that we want to have a discussion, especially more than the presentation. We want a discussion kind of thing, sir. I thank you for your great insight on ChatGPT. I think still almost 300-350 people one time is reaching because of the technical glitches, even though registration is 590. So we are around 380-390 people only is attending the program. So I think it may give a lot of insight to those participants who are take part in this program. And thank you for accepting our invitation to present the new technological ChatGPT, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Arun.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I leave.
And also thank the participant, even though we changed the link in the last minute. So we have almost 380 is a good number. I thank the participant also.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.